Hello and welcome to Religion 295, The Religious Quest. This is the 3-week accelerated course over the summer, taken online asynchronously. And so we're going to be jumping right in the first week, and we're going to plow through really quickly and cover all of this great material. But first, I want to talk to you a little bit about what is the Religious Quest, welcome you to the course, and give you a little bit of outline of the structure of the course, what's expected of you, and then we'll kind of wrap up and we'll get jumping right in with our first week, starting on Monday. So essentially, what is the Religious Quest? Okay, what exactly does this mean? And right before I started recording, the church bells were going off at the church across the street from campus. And that's really just an indication that religion is everywhere. It's everywhere that we look. It's in politics, it's in sports, it's in education, it's in business and finance, economics and science. Everywhere that you look, especially in the United States, everywhere you turn, you're going to see some aspect of religion. Whether it's someone having a tattoo of a cross, someone wearing a cross, someone wearing a hijab, someone walking to church, someone going to a baptism, someone just saying a prayer before they step up to the plate in a baseball game. Everywhere you turn, religion is all around us. So what I want us to understand really in this class is that you can't take a scalpel and just sort of like carve out religion in the United States and see, there it is. Like, it permeates every aspect of our society and our lives too. So our professions as well. So we can get into that during the course of the semester. But what I really want us to understand is, like, we're going to try to approach and understand is, how does religion interact with culture? Not only in our culture, but in cultures across the globe. So that's one of the things we're going to be focused on with the Religious Quest. The next thing to be thinking about is religion is about meaning. Okay, so religion is everywhere. That's the first note. The second note is religion, it's about meaning. And it's about helping us understand the world around us. And so religion, it helps us understand these questions, these existential questions that we have about, what is my purpose in life? How did we get here? What happens when we die? Why is there suffering in the world? And so religion responds to these questions by trying to propose answers and solutions to the problems that we face as human beings. And so you can be thinking about, what are the existential questions that you have that religion can provide an answer to. So we're going to look at various religions across the globe and see, okay, how does Buddhism answer the question about the issue of the human problem? How is Hinduism, how is the structure of Hindu society related to religion and the caste system as presented in Hinduism? And so another thing we're going to be looking at is, like, what is religion? So how do we even define religion? What is not religion? And so we're going to go into this problem of definition. How broad do you want religion to be? Does it have to have a connection with a transcendent or a God? Can it be a look inward more? Like, for example, Buddhism does not have, or at least the vast majority of Buddhism does not have a transcendent external deity that they pray to. So we're going to be looking at definition, sort of like what is religion. So how do we define the term? And then also, what are the components of religion? How do different religions across the globe address this issue of meaning? Okay, so and then I really want us to pay attention to this idea that what we're doing here is that this is an academic study of religion. Okay, so we are not going to be judging. While we're going to be looking at different religions, we're going to be relying a little bit more on Christianity, because that might be what we're more familiar with, being in the United States. 70% of people in the United States self-identify as Christian, so we might lean a little bit more heavily on sort of like the Judeo-Christian background for some of our examples. But what we're not doing is, we're not assessing truth claims. We're not assessing veracity. Okay, we're not saying this religion is true, this religion is not, and so we're going to go with this one. Okay, that's not what we're doing in this class. Instead, we're kind of standing outside the subject matter of religion, and we're going to do an investigation of, how does religion interact with the world? How does religion try to provide meaning for individuals? And so it's not about saying, like, this religion is wrong, this religion is right. And it's not about evangelization. It's not about proselytization. It's not about conversion. There's no attempt to convert anyone in this class. And so, or it's not going to be your traditional Bible study. And so we're really trying to understand how religion functions, and how it influences human behavior, how it tries to explain how the world works, how it provides meaning for individuals. And so while we might have our own individual religious beliefs to kind of play into that and maybe cloud how we see one thing or another, we're not necessarily saying like this religion is true, this religion is false. So we want to investigate how religion impacts society. So that's sort of the overall sort of like 30,000 foot view, I guess you could say, of the course. But I want to talk to you a little bit about the structure of the course. And so with the structure of the course, this is really, really quick. 3 weeks online, and it's asynchronous, and so it's not as if we all have to be online at the same time. So which is good for our schedule, for our working schedules, your working schedule, my schedule. I'm also the director of immersive learning, in addition being professor of religion and culture. So you know, so we're going to be doing this. There might be a time where we can all find scheduled to get together. It might be helpful, but for the most part, it's going to be asynchronous, which means you're going to be doing this work on your own time. Okay, so it is 3 weeks, so it's quick. But there's going to be 4 sessions per week, and so that'll be 12 sessions. The first 2 sessions each week are going to be due on Thursdays, and then the second 2 sessions each week are going to be due on Sundays, just to give you a timeline to be meeting, and so you can be working through and methodically working through. Feel free to work ahead if you know you've got something coming up, you know, and you need to get ahead. Go for it, but it's really important to stay on top of it, because it's so easy to fall behind it and nearly impossible to catch up once you do fall behind, because we're moving so quick. So each session is going to have clear instructions, and usually the way it works is I post a short video kind of introducing the section, and then there's going to be instructions on, okay, here's the reading and the reading quiz. And the reading quiz is typically going to be at your own pace, and so it's not a timed quiz. You can be taking the quiz as you're doing the reading, so that's fine. You can just have the quiz open online as you're doing the reading and answering, responding to those questions. And then there's usually an activity, whether it's like watching a TED Talk, taking a poll, going out, looking up a survey, some other things. So like activity associated with that, or watching it. We're going to watch an episode of Boy Meets World in this class. And then a discussion post, and then probably a discussion follow-up, either responding back for my questions or your fellow students' questions. But I'm gonna walk through. I'm gonna create a video, like a screen share, where I actually walk you through a week or a session in the course, so you really have an idea of like what's it going to take for you to be successful for each of these sessions. So I'll post that out as well. But the course is broken out into 2 main thematic portions. The first portion of the class, the first I guess week and a half, so 6 sessions, we're going to be looking at sort of the religious landscape of the United States. So sort of like religious demographics. How do we measure religious commitment is one of the things we're going to be looking at. Why study religion in the first place? Why should we even approach this? And how do we even define religion? So those are some of the themes we'll be doing in this first half of the class. The second half, we're going to be looking at religious components, or the various components of religion. Right across the street, or actually on campus, we have a chapel. And so the vast majority of religions have a worship space, or a place to meet. These religions have communities. Religions have rituals. They have creation accounts of like how the world came into being and what's our relationship with the divine. They have notions of the divine. So from one monolithic God to all the way to the million gods in Hinduism, or you have even sort of like the henotheism that's present in ancient Judaism. So you have a wide variety of different approaches of like how to understand the divine. Or in Buddhism, in some cases, you don't even have an external divine. They all have organizational structures, whether it's like there's laity and priests, or whether everyone's a priest or everyone's laity. So there's a wide variety of organizational structures we're going to look into, and those impact how the religion functions. There's sacred writings, again, in these religions. There's visions of an afterlife, and instructions on how to get there. So it's kind of important to have. So if you have visions of an afterlife, it's like, but we're not going to tell you how to get there. No. So there's visions of an afterlife, or enlightenment, or nirvana, or Valhalla, if you happen to be a Viking. And so then there's also instructions on how to achieve those goals through action belief. And there's explanations for suffering in the world. Okay, it's called theodicy. So why do we have evil? Why do we have suffering? what is this human problem? And so why are we oftentimes sort of in pain, or emotional pain? And so religions try to answer these questions because they try to provide meaning. And remember, religion is about meaning, and it's everywhere. And so these components of religion, what they do is they all work together like a web, or Max Weber, German, called it a web of significance. So these components are like a web, and they prop up the religion to where if you have one of these components doesn't make sense and it's not convincing, the whole religion can kind of fall in upon itself. And so these are all interrelated. The creation account is related to the afterlife, which is related to the rituals, which is related to the ethical demands or the moral demands, okay, placed on members, and which is related to the scripture. So all of these are interconnected to support the religion, so people believe. So we're going to touch on some of the world's religions over the course of the term, but and it's important for you to have the book. The book, it's James Livingston's Anatomy of the Sacred. I think it was available through the bookstore. If you do not have access to the book, we won't be using it. Well, I mean, we'll be using it in week 1, but not in the first couple sessions. But let me know, because I have PDF copies of all the chapters. I could send you just until you can get the book delivered. But that we'll be using that book. It's the only book that we'll have. It's James Livingston's Anatomy of the Sacred. Because everything else is going to be articles and PDF files that I upload. Again, we're going to watch a TED Talk. We'll watch some episodes of sitcoms, things like that. So, and that's it. So I want to thank you for taking the course. There's only a few of us, and so it's really, really important for 2 things: for you to stay on top of the assignments, and to post and to keep the conversation going with your classmates. And so I'll be responding. But like when you have the time, dive in, pace yourself. As I sent an email out earlier today. So pace yourself, and you have to carve out time to do these things. You're trying to complete 3 credits of a college course in 3 weeks, and so I will be as available as I can to help you out. But you also have to carve out time, and the better that we have, the more that we have a conversation amongst all of us in the class, the better experience it's going to be. So really, the students, you make the experience. So I'm just guiding the way, but you make the experience. But thank you for being here, and I look forward to getting to know you, and look forward to exploring these topics with you. And if you have any questions, please reach out, and I look forward to talking with you soon. All the best.